Hello everyone, Linda Israel here, and today I'm going to share with you how to make these little journal charm bling pieces. I've had several people ask about them and how to make them, how to put them together, so I thought I would share with you. Now, my camera is not the best for this type of work. I'm hoping that I will save some money and be able to buy the camera that I really want. So let me get things situated and we'll get started. So I have a few supplies sitting out here to make some pieces to go onto a length of chain that I attach to a jump ring, and then I attach a small but not tiny lobster claw. This one is probably almost an inch tall. It's probably 3/4 of an inch tall. They came to a package of 6, I believe, at Hobby Lobby. I buy them when they're on sale. And then I also buy pieces whenever one of the wholesale bead markets comes to town here in Oklahoma. In fact, there's this one on Saturday and Sunday in Tulsa that I plan to go to. I'm going to take my mom. So here's what I do. I select a few beads and then I start putting them on a head pin. Now there's different types of head pins. They are straight head pins that have a pin end to them, but they are not sharp on the other end. The longer your pin, the easier it is to work. That also means that the fewer beads you put on, the easier it is to work. If you try to stack this with beads all the way up here to the top, you can't form a loop. Some of the tools that I use are some close cut cutters, so you can kind of see that it cuts all the way up, or it's a flush cut. I'll put a link in the description box for some of these tools. And then I use round nose pliers. You can also use some flat pliers as well as a round nose, but I do highly recommend a round nose and a pair of flush cutters. So here's what I've done. I've added some beads, and on this particular one, I want it to be a charm, so I used one that had a closed loop already on it. And then I've added a few beads. And what I do is take my pliers, and just above where I want this to start, I bend it over at an L. And then I reposition my pliers so they were like this. And now I'm going to take it to the top, and I'm going to bend it back around, and that is starting to form a loop. And I'll adjust my pliers as necessary, and then I will go past, and now you see that it's starting to make this crossover piece. And what I'll do is I'll change my hands. I'll get another pair of pliers because my fingernails I do not want to break. It hurts to break them on things like this. So I use the pliers to wrap this around. So I'm just wrapping it really close to the first of the wraps. And I'm going to continue going around until it's really close to the end of what is left of this piece of wire. So I'm just twisting it around. And then when it gets close to the end, when you can't get a hold of it anymore, I will take my little nippers and I will nip off this little piece. Watch out, wear some eye protection because it can go flying. And then I'll use my pliers to kind of go around and squeeze and smooth so there aren't any bars or burrs. So there is my loop that's on the top of this component. I'll bend it as necessary. It's the thing about this wire, it's pretty forgiving. So there's my component that I've created that I want to hang onto this chain, and I think I want it at the bottom so it gives some nice length. And what I'll do is I'll use some jump rings. Again, you can get them in packages of just a few or by the hundreds, and I've got a package of about 100 here, or 200 I think. And it may be hard to see on the camera, but there is an opening on this split ring. And what I'm going to do is, or jump ring, not a split ring. A split ring looks like a keychain, like you would put your keys on a keychain and you wind it around and around. That's a split ring. This is a jump ring. I like to take 2 pairs of pliers. I'm going to get my other glasses so I can see. It gets tiny work. Sucks getting old, y'all. All right, so I take my pliers and hold on to each side of this ring, and then I twist. I push back with my left hand and pull forward with my right hand. And so that opens that ring, but don't pull it apart. You want to twist. Now I'm going to take this portion that I created, and I'm going to add it to the last chain on the ring and drop it. See, I'm not perfect. Okay, so then once I've got all the components added that I want, I'll take my pliers and grab and then push them back together so that they're nice and even. So see how even that is now? So there's the beginnings of what I'm going to add charm-wise. Now I've grabbed a few other things from my stash that I have made, and I'm going to add these in the same fashion. I'm going to open up a jump ring. So I'm just going to lay some out here. I'm going to push back with my left hand, pull forward with my right. So now I've got a twist. I'm going to look at this and decide what do I want where. And I want this little rose up here at the top. And then I'll use my pliers to close it back up again. So now we're starting to add some things. Got another jump ring. This says hope. And I'll just kind of pick a spot on this length of chain. Now, I cut a piece of chain anywhere between 1 inch, 1.5 inches, 2 inches long. This one's a little bit longer. It's almost 2 inches long, about 1.5 inches. And I used this type of chain on this particular project because it was on sale for 50% off. I got 6 yards of it, or 216 inches, which means in my case, if I only did about 1 inch, I could get about 200 out of this for half of $14.99. So it's a really good deal. And I just cut them with my cutter. I just go in here and figure out how far apart I want it and cut it. So hopefully I'm not all over the place and confusing you, that you're getting the idea that this really isn't that hard. The hardest part is the wrapping. There are a lot of charms now that they sell and bead components that you don't have to wrap them. You can just attach them. For example, here are some little pearls that are all ready to go. All you got to do is open that jump ring and stick it on whatever project you want. Depending on how big my charms are and what my theme is will kind of determine how many I use on one of these. Sometimes I make 3 beaded components, and then I will add 3 to 5 charms or pieces that I like. And it just kind of depends on my mood and the theme and colors and whatnot. This one up here. I have a plethora of beads because I have made jewelry for over 20 years and I enjoy it. I enjoy getting that out and playing, so it's kind of fun to be able to do that on a junk journal. I'll sit and make little components. I have a little tray here that I will add components to as I make them. So I'll bead these all together and then just pop them in here, and then that way when I'm ready to make a journal, I just grab a few of these and then start sticking them on to some chain, and then I have journal charms I can use. I also make these as necklaces, so instead of putting this clasp here, I will use a closed ring instead of a jump ring, and I will run a piece of cord, and so this whole component can hang as a necklace. And you can take these off and do the same thing. You just hook the lobster claw to a cord of some kind or chain. I think one more. Sometimes I get out more than I need, and sometimes I need to go get more. But I think this time around, I have enough to add to it. Let's go right about there. So in there, I have added this little rose, another flower, some crystal bling, the word hope, a pink crystal, a purple crystal, a key. This is a little bow, and then a little butterfly. So this is how it would hang. And these are some of the others I've made. So I've added a little Paris Eiffel Tower, and this one has a little star. There's a little heart, and then another little rose flower. Here's one with wings and in blue colors with the word love. This one, I love these giant rhinestone blings, so I'll buy these. Come as a bracelet, and I take them apart. That's another thing you can look at when you go into thrift stores or really cheap stores that sell jewelry that you can get for a couple of dollars, and you can take the components off and you can make new pieces with them. Here's a couple more. Here's one with a, if I can get it, it's all twisted now. There we go. It's got a fleur-de-lis charm. It's got a little cross and a little rose and some pink. And I love this little butterfly bead. Isn't that darling? And then here's one with a little heart. And then here's one where I've added this little lace filigree piece across, pink beads with the hearts again and a rose. And then one more. Here's one of these smaller blings that came off a bracelet, and the word hope, and then a cross. So hopefully seeing those kind of gives you an idea that you can make these. These are really simple. You can make them as long as you want or as short as you want. It's just a matter of putting your components on there. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. Like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, if you have any questions, leave a message down below. I'll be glad to help you out. Check out the description box for links to my blog posts where I have a list of where you can get some of these things that I've used today. And if you haven't already, come join the Friendly Junk Journal People Facebook group where you can see all kinds of junk journal related projects and ideas and inspirations. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a fabulous day. Bye.